video that I did on the RMK Pro versus the RMK Khaos. I have one of each sled here in the showroom. We're here at Outlaw Motorsports. I'm going to be able to break down the differences in the sled and give you guys some setup tips as well as, you know, if you want to make the RMK feel more playful like the Khaos and vice versa, tame the Khaos down to make it act more like the Pro. You could do that, right? There's the adjustable clicker settings on each one of these sleds. Each one of them acts a little bit differently on the snow out of the box. So we'll break that down today. And first and foremost, we're going to go over the Khaos and show you guys the difference. So to get into it with the Khaos, the first thing that I'm going to point out that you guys will notice just by looking at the video is the rail profile is actually, it's a shorter radius and it's steeper at the front. So what that does to the snowmobile is it creates a harsher attack angle. So if you could imagine a ladder against a roof, the steeper that you stack the ladder up against the roof, as you're climbing it, it feels like you're going to want to fall over. That's what this sled is essentially doing, is it's creating a steeper attack angle, and when the sled is trying to get up onto the snow, it's actually climbing through it and creating ski lift. It makes it more of a playful ride. There's a couple of things that you can do to make it not so playful, I guess, or to tame the front end ski lift down, and we'll go over those here in a second. But I just wanted to point out that you can see the steepness of the tip of the rail, and the center shock right here is actually a little bit longer than a Pro RMK. So those two things combined is what creates the ski lift in this sled. Other than that, they're almost identical chassis. On the velocity shocks here, the feature on the Khaos is the adjustability of high speed and low speed compression. So the red one being your high speed and the black one in the center being your low speed, those are fully adjustable. So the stiffer that you go on your high speed, you click it all the way in, that's going to be your stiffest setting, and that's going to create more resistance in the front of the skid, and that's going to create more ski lift for you. So moving on to the rear track shock, same thing. Red is your high speed, black is your low speed. The softer that you have this rear track shock, the more wheelie you'll get. So in a combination between the rear track shock and the front track shock, you can actually get this sled to mellow out quite a bit. You know, it's similar to an RMK. You're obviously still going to have a little bit of ski lift, but same thing. If you want more wheelie, go softer on the high speed. Like this, go counterclockwise would be softer. If you want less wheelie, you would go clockwise and turn it all the way in. Once again, count your clickers, find the middle, and start there. When I'm setting suspension up, I always try and start in the middle. So both shocks are coilover, right? So they have preload adjustment on them as well. If you can't get the adjustment that you want out of using the clickers, it is a good idea to tighten up the preload adjustment on the rear spring to try and get the front end to stay down for you. So moving on to the RMK, you can see the attack angle at the front of the rail is quite a bit flatter. And so the purpose of having that flatter and more mellow is the same thing. I go back to the ladder, it's the easiest way to explain it. So, the Khaos, we're saying, has a steep profile at the front. When you're climbing the ladder, it wants to tip over backwards, and it makes it for a little bit more of an uneasy feel while you're up there. The RMK, you got to imagine the ladder is farther back. It's way easier for it to climb the elevation. So with the shallower attack angle at the front of the rail on the RMK, it allows it to get up onto the snow quicker and start carrying momentum forward. It is a non-clicker, so it gives you spring preload, and that's about it. This Walker clicker is fully adjustable as well. It doesn't have the high and the low speed similar to what the Khaos has. It has just one clicker knob on the back side here, and obviously the stiffer that you run that, the more the front end is going to want to stay down. So if you go softer in the rear shock, it'll allow the skid to weight transfer more, and it'll lift the front end up for you, much like what the Khaos does. So there's kind of two different setups, right? If you want more wheelie, you'll go stiffer in the center and softer in the rear. And if you want less wheelie, we'll go more firm in the rear and softer up front. So both sleds do a really good job of offering adjustability, in the shock. Same thing, it has a coilover rear shock on it. That's fully adjustable. If you're not getting the results you're looking for, you can add or subtract spring preload away from that rear shock. So there you have it, guys. A little bit more in-depth look at the Pro RMK versus the Pro RMK Khaos. This guy's wearing a business suit, this guy likes to party. So, you know, for me, they're both really great sleds. The adjustability and everything on the Khaos is awesome. The RMK has a little bit less adjustability, but it still does the same thing for you. If you want to set this up to be a little bit more playful, you can do that. If you want to try and tame the Khaos and mellow that machine out, you can do that as well. So between each sled, there is some common ground. It's just a matter of choice of what works best for you. If you guys like this video, make sure that you subscribe, comment, and hit the notifications bell. You guys will see these videos as I'm pumping them out. And thanks for watching.